Remember this. You are not invisible to them. You are not just background movement in their world. You are a face they have already decided something about, filed away, and are quietly still watching. That crow in your morning walk was never just watching you. It already remembers exactly who you are. You walk past the same crow every morning on your way to work. It watches you. You barely notice it back. But that crow noticed something about you months ago, and it has not forgotten. It remembers your face. It may have told other crows about you too. That sounds like folklore? It is not. It is documented science, and the real answer to whether animals remember your face is far stranger than most people assume. You probably think of memory as a human specialty, something only creatures with big brains and language could manage. But recognizing a face does not require language. It requires something older, something wired into survival itself. So the real question is not whether animals can remember your face. The real question is why some of them remember it better than your own neighbors do. Start with the crow, because the crow is the clearest case on record. In 2008, wildlife biologist John Marslove at the University of Washington ran an experiment that would change how scientists think about bird cognition. His team trapped wild crows while wearing a specific rubber caveman mask. Just that one mask, on that one occasion. Then they released the birds and walked around campus in different clothes, on different days, sometimes wearing the mask and sometimes not. The crows scolded the mask, every time. Not the person, the mask. They dive-bombed it. They screeched warnings to other crows nearby. And here's the part that unsettled researchers. Crows who were never trapped, who never even saw the original capture, started scolding the mask too. The memory had spread. Crows had apparently communicated a threat using a face as the identifying detail to other crows who had no first-hand experience of danger at all. That study ran for years afterward. The scolding did not fade quickly. Some crows kept recognizing and reacting to that same mask nearly a decade later. A decade, which means a crow's memory of a threatening human face can outlast most people's memory of a bad first date. Why would a bird evolve this? Think about what a face actually represents to a wild animal. It is not just a shape, it's a walking, breathing signal of intent. Calm eyes, wide eyes, a fast approach, a slow approach. For an animal without claws sharp enough to fight back, recognizing a dangerous individual instead of an entire species is a massive evolutionary advantage. You do not need to fear every human. You need to fear the one who trapped you. Now picture the opposite. Not fear, but familiarity and even affection. Because face memory in animals is not only about danger. Consider your dog. Neuroscientist Attila Andix at Eötvös Loránd University in Budapest trained dogs to lie still inside an MRI scanner, fully awake, so researchers could watch their brains respond to different images and voices. What they found was striking. Dog brains showed distinct activity patterns specifically for human faces, separate from the way they processed other objects. Their brains were not just noting a shape appeared. They were processing this is a face as its own category, the same broad principle that shows up in the human brain. That helps explain something you've probably felt yourself. Your dog does not treat a stranger's face and your face the same way. It reacts differently before you even speak, before you even move. Something in the eyes, the outline, the familiarity registers first. Here's a stranger fact. It's not just mammals, not just birds. Fish do this too. Neuroscientist Caitlin Newport, working with archerfish, ran experiments where the fish were trained to spit water at a specific human face shown on a screen chosen from a lineup of very similar human faces. The fish picked the correct one, again and again, even when hairstyles, clothing, and skin tone were digitally altered to be nearly identical between images. A fish, with a brain smaller than your fingertip, no visible expression to read, no evolutionary history involving human companionship, and it recognized one specific human face among many. Why would that matter? Fish are not exactly known for holding grudges against fishermen, but the finding tells you something bigger than fish behavior. It tells you that recognizing an individual face might be a far more basic biological skill than scientists once assumed. Not a mark of high intelligence, a near universal survival tool. That reframes the whole question, doesn't it? Sheep can do it too. Neuroscientist Keith Kendrick's research at the Babraham Institute found that sheep could learn to distinguish between dozens of individual human faces shown in photographs and could hold that recognition in memory for roughly 2 years. 2 years! In an animal most people assume can barely tell one flock member from another. So what's actually going on inside these brains? In many species, face processing appears to draw on structures that are older, evolutionarily, than language or tool use. Facial recognition does not require reasoning about who someone is or what their name might be. It requires pattern matching against something emotionally coded. Danger, safety, food, threat. Your face to an animal is less like an ID card and more like a weather signal. It tells them what's about to happen. This is where it gets personal, because if animals are reading your face this precisely, they are probably also reading your patterns, the route you walk, the bag you carry, whether you slow down or speed up. Crows in cities have been observed adjusting their alarm behavior based not just on a face, but on the combination of a face with a location and a routine. The mask alone triggered fear. The mask in the exact spot where the trapping happened triggered even more fear. Which means the crow watching you every morning is not just cataloging a face, it's cataloging a story about you. Are you predictable? Are you calm? Have you ever thrown something, yelled, moved quickly towards its nest? It is building a small, quiet profile, refreshed every single day you pass by. Here's the twist most people don't expect. Humans are actually worse at this than several of the species we just described. Facial recognition studies on people consistently find that most humans struggle to reliably distinguish unfamiliar faces from other groups outside their frequent exposure, a phenomenon researchers have studied for decades under the umbrella of other race effect and general face blindness research. Roughly 2% of people meet clinical criteria for prosopagnosia, an inability to recognize faces at all, sometimes even their own reflection. Meanwhile, a fish with no facial expressions of its own outperforms plenty of humans at picking one specific face from a lineup. So the animal kingdom is not less equipped for this task than you assumed. In some cases, it is simply better trained for it, because for a wild animal, misreading a face can mean death, and for most humans today, it rarely costs anything at all. That's the strange part of living the way you do now. Your ancestors needed to read faces the way a crow reads them. Every stranger was a potential threat or a potential ally, and getting it wrong could be fatal. That urgency has mostly disappeared from modern life. You walk past hundreds of unfamiliar faces a week and forget nearly all of them by evening. Not because your brain is incapable, because your environment no longer demands that kind of vigilance. The animals around you have not received that memo. The crow outside your window is still living by the old rules. It still treats your face as information worth storing, worth protecting itself with, worth passing on to its offspring if you ever give it a reason to. So the next time you walk past that same bird, that same dog behind the fence, that same barn cat that never quite warms up to you, remember this: you are not invisible to them. You are not just background movement in their world. You are a face they have already decided something about, filed away, and are quietly still watching. That crow in your morning walk was never just watching you. It already remembers exactly who you are.